Good evening and welcome back to Mystic Matters. We are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. If you think last week's show was great, we got a show for you tonight.
Don't we, Kristin?
Fire, this show. It is really on fire. But before we get into right here, what's going on?
Well, we are the Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Very excited about our grand opening on May 19th of our Welcome Center. As a member, you can still be a part of the advertising and itineraries and
lots going on.
Everything that goes in there. It's going to be a good time.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, so please get in touch with me if you wanted to give away some prizes or just be at this thing. May 19th.
I mean, it's actually the place to be.
62 Greenmanville Avenue.
Right, on May 19th. But I'm going to tell you something. If you don't want to go there on May 19th, we've got a place for you that you can go basically 7 days a week. Because we've got Tom Vignato here from Fields of Fire Adventure Park. Now, you say that 10 times, we'll give you a prize. So, welcome back, Tom.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we said, how long has Tom? I mean, I think it's got to be about 4 years ago now.
Yes. Yep, I remember.
And you brought us props, okay? But this time, you didn't bring us props because what do you have going on?
We've made a number of changes since the last time we were here. Paintball, if you remember all the props, it was paintball guns, masks, paintballs, everything else. And paintball is what we used to really get off the ground. But what we learned after the first year was that the families that come to Mystic don't play paintball. Our business, we were attracting bachelor parties from the casinos and a lot of birthday parties for all the locals.
Right.
So we would have all the families from East Lyme and Westerly and Stonington and Ledyard. They would bring their kids and play paintball for the birthday parties. But as soon as the summer vacation hit, our numbers went way down because now you've got families are all off, families are coming into Mystic, and what would happen was we'd be open and we would see the families would walk up our driveway, the mom and dad would walk in, then the son would run right up to the games and he'd look through the netting and be like, this is the greatest. And then the little girl would look and she's like, because paintball is very intimidating. If you've never played and you're watching it,
it's competitive.
Very intimidating, very competitive, very aggressive.
Well, and it hurts.
It hurts. So what we were seeing was you get the families that would walk up and the mom would look at the dad and the mom would go, we're only here for 2 days. We need to do something the whole family wants to do.
Right.
Because the daughter was like grabbing her mom's arm saying, I don't want to do this.
Right.
So the son was like, son's over watching the game and the dad have to go and tell the son, hey, listen, we're going to do something else because, because
women always have their way. That's what
happened. And so we started to realize that we were missing out the bulk of the season, the summer months. Right. The 3 months of summer, we were missing out on really, too big of a piece of the business because Mystic is drawing on its own. Mystic draws,
so many people,
so many families, and we just said, all right, what can we do to attract part of that? So we started to do research as far as, all right, if paintball is not it, what could it be? So I just started, doing research on what different activities that we could bring on site that would bring the people in, and these aerial adventure parks, which is what we have, were the latest and greatest. It gets everybody outside. It's fitness. It's really attractive to the whole family. The ages, you could be 7 years old all the way to 80 years old. So it's really good for everybody. It's
team building.
It's what they call ecotourism because you're outside. It's ecology. You're outside. It's good for the environment. You're walking through the woods.
Right.
And it's after doing the research and seeing how the business models worked, we just said it's a no-brainer.
But it's good for it's good for families. It's good for connecting. I mean too. You're out there, but you're also talking to each other. You're also challenging each other. It's just good communication versus this.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. And what we've seen is
the texting,
the phones, the iPads, the video games. Yeah. And paintball did that. That was the original thought back when we did paintball, because Call of Duty was the video game everybody was playing.
Right.
Which is a shooting game. So we said, all right, let's tap into that. And then it worked, and we did fine. And as a business, paintball on its own would do well. However, it's not, you're missing out on too much. If paintball, if I was
not a year round.
If I was to do it again, I would do a paintball park separately, maybe outside of Mystic, where you could continue to attract the bachelor parties and the birthday parties. But to be in Mystic and not tap into the summer crowd is foolish. And this is a lot easier to manage. Paintball has got a lot of, there's so much, the equipment, the netting, the gear, the paintballs. You can't let them get cold. You can't let them get hot. They can't be old. They got to be fresh. Otherwise, they get little flat spots, and then they curve when you shoot them. So, you know, it just, there's a lot of maintenance involved in paintball, the cleaning and everything else. So the aerial park, once it was built, it's there, and it does. There's no overhead.
But what's the maintenance, Tom?
Maintenance on the park is very minimal. It's just a matter of going up, making sure after a storm or a high wind, we go through, we make sure all of the nuts and bolts are tight, and it's just super easy. The gear, the equipment that they used that when they built the park is all the best of the best. You know, the galvanized zip lines, they're made in Germany. They're designed specifically for this. It was very expensive to build, but you got to build it right if you're going to do it and attract, you know, the families.
Have you done this, Susette? Have you done the park?
You know, I've been down the drive when I've passed it again, because I like I told Tom, I said the best thing, I said in the dead of the winter is those beautiful lights. I don't care what anybody says. I'm telling you, I love the lights, and I see
on the
because
highway,
on the highway you see things happening, and the other thing is too, it catches your curiosity. Not that the sign doesn't let you know what it is, but for me, it catches my curiosity, and I have a niece and nephew that are coming that have, the boys are now old enough, they are over 7, and so that's one of the things that are on their agenda for the summer when they come. They'll be renting a house in downtown Mystic, and they asked me about it, and I was like, it's great, I'll be there. So I'll be there.
Excellent.
During the summertime. But one thing I do want to say, Tom, is that you're very aware of changing a business. And I think from a business perspective, and all of us business owners, you're not sitting there waiting for the business to happen. You're actually saying, well, if I'm going to make it, or I'm going to look to the future, that this is the direction that we need.
Well, you have a great story, don't you? Like where you come from and where you've been, because you seem like a local guy, but
yeah,
dot.
I grew up on Long Island, and then as soon as I hit 21, I moved out west and lived in Las Vegas for 10 years. So I spent all my 20s working in the casinos and the hotels in Las Vegas. Then when Mohegan Sun built their first hotel, they were recruiting kind of for experienced hotel people. So I had an opportunity to come back east where my entire family, my wife's family, are on Long Island. So we had always said, hey, if we can ever get back east, it would have to be the right circumstances. And when Mohegan Sun's hotel opened, it was just perfect because it was right across the sound from home.
Right.
And we were able to come right in, get into the hotel. So I was a hotel manager at Mohegan Sun for 9 years. And then when the economy went bad in 2008, you know, everybody shrunk, and I was a casualty. And I said, all right, now, that's where I said, you know, what can we do that's you know, where I'm in charge, and I'm not really wearing a name tag anymore.
Right.
We're so glad that you did that.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
So you're still doing stuff for the community too. What do you have some events coming up?
We've got a lot. The phones are ringing like crazy. We have an event coming up the 29th. It's a mud run. It's going to go on while our park is open, but underneath the climbing is going to be this mud run, a 5K mud run, Mystic Muddy Mayhem. It's for the Parks and Rec Department, Groton's Park and Rec Department. It's a 5K course that we build that goes through our 50-acre park. So you're going to be running, you know, it's a trail run with some obstacles. It's not going to be the crazy obstacles you see on the Spartan Race or Tough Mudder where they have like electrical cables hanging down.
As you say this, I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do here?
No, it's going to be more of a trail run with some natural type obstacles. There'll be some obstacles, but we've got enough really cool stuff. The terrain on our property is outstanding, and it's really good for these types of runs. The last time we did it 2 years ago, and the feedback we got from these hardcore people that do these races all the time was they loved it more than some of the other ones because it was the natural, it wasn't the crazy obstacles where, you know, you were physically exhausted after the thing.
Right.
This is a very fun trail run, you know, for the whole family. So that's what we're doing again.
So I could do that? I could walk?
You can do it. You could walk. Is it really, you know, you're only timing for yourself. It'll be timed if you want to.
Challenging yourself, I think. Is that right? You're
I might
up
I
against
don't know.
each. Right.
Just walking that far is challenging to me.
Right. So, Tom, who are your core customers? I mean, and who do you want to attract?
The core customers now, the core customers when we had paintball were, like I said, bachelor parties and
Right,
birthday parties,
right.
but our core customers have changed. They are now, in addition to the tourists that we have, so between Memorial Day and Labor Day, our core business is
Tourism.
tourists.
Right.
However, we're open all year, so we want to make sure that we're providing valued entertainment for the
Yep.
locals. So we have a very strong group of very dedicated locals that use us as a, when their friends come into town, that's where they bring them, which is really neat. So that's, our core. Summertime, yes, it's the tourists because you got to make your money. However, we're open all year, so we want to make sure we're doing events and we're open through the winter. So if the weather's good, we'll open. We have this new online reservation system that is really easy, super friendly. You get on, you can pick the day and the time you want to start. And if there's a day you're thinking of, you can go to find it on our site and book it right there, and we'll be open.
And how are people finding you?
Finding
Well, you're saying the tourism, so how are people finding you?
the one thing that we really take proudly is like ratings and reviews. So TripAdvisor, for instance. TripAdvisor is probably the most used, Yelp so much, but I think TripAdvisor is actually a little bit, for the people that
For
are
you.
traveling,
Yep,
for us.
yep.
So we have a 5-star rating on TripAdvisor, on Facebook, on Google. We've had 5 stars, and it's if you read, everybody has an opportunity to write a little paragraph about their experience instead of just doing 5 stars with no explanation. They have a chance to explain it, and the explanations are that's what we're the most proud of, because the customers are singling out staff members that we have that went over the top and did a really good job with maybe their
And that's
their kid
important.
who was a little bit needy, and our staff took the patience and the time and really went out and made the family feel comfortable. So that's what we're really proud of is the reviews that we're getting. So that anybody who's coming in this day and age, if you're on vacation and you only have 2 days, usually the mom or the dad, the night or two before, they're online trying to figure out what they're going to do during the trip. So that's what we are. That's what we're spending the money, so to speak, to advertise. So it's Facebook, it's TripAdvisor, it's Google.
And they're finding you pretty
They're
easily.
finding us.
Yeah.
The fact that we're on the highway with the lights,
Yeah,
on the way to Mystic doesn't
Yeah.
hurt. And
You can't help but
when
look the other way.
The funny thing is when we had the builders come in to build the park. It's one of the best builders in the world. They're from upstate New York. They're doing a project right now doing the Bronx Zoo in New York City. They're adding a huge adventure park there. They just did the San Diego Zoo, so they're a really well known and good company. But when they came onto the property, we have 50 acres, right? And the best trees that we have are not near the highway. They're further back in the woods. But we were talking about, all right, we have an opportunity here. We can build this near the highway and use the trees that we have, which are fine. He said, how do you want to do this? And I said, well, the visibility is so important. You want people to be able to see what you have going on here, which is why we chose to do it right on the highway.
Right. Wow.
So the cool
it's
thing is the
amazing.
rest of the property, we've got some plans that are not going to happen this year or maybe next year, but we've got some plans where it used to be all paintball. What we did was we eliminated paintball, and so the woods are, they're fine. There's not like there's any, you can't even tell we played paintball back there. It's all grown back
Yeah.
in.
And cleaned up.
Any of the paintballs, they're all dissolved, so the woods is pristine. And we have plans for down the road to do some other cool activities out there.
There's fire pits back there, and it's gorgeous. I mean, just to go back there at all, just to even walk back, and they're very generous about that, letting people walk back.
The
And
nice
take a
thing
look.
we have is that we have no neighbors, really. I mean, we have the highway, but the most popular thing we do is our night climbing. So when we're
I've seen that.
6, 7, 8 o'clock summertime, we're open until midnight.
Right.
Wow.
And
really?
we've had special groups that say, hey, listen, it's kind of a weird thing, but can we start at 1 a.m. and go till 4? And it's just, it could be a graduation party for one of the schools that they're doing these grad night parties where they do they
How
call
are the
it like a lock-in.
mosquitoes?
Not bad at all. Not bad
No?
at all.
Okay,
No.
so they've got to bring their own stuff though if they.
Yeah, they can bring their own stuff. We also have like cases of Deep Woods Off in case somebody's worried about it. But
Right.
the fire pits, we have 3 really big fire pits, and those are going almost all the time. We have tons of firewood on the property, old trees that have been falling down and just rotting. We've had my guys go out and chopping it all up, cleaning up the property at the same time. We got fuel for the fire pits. People love it.
Tom, you've got. This has always been. I can tell that you're very passionate about this, but there's you and who else taking care of this place? What's your staff?
My wife
like
and
a-
I own the business.
Right.
So my wife and I are
the primary,
the main, right. So, but I also have a general manager. My general manager's name is John Tibus, and he's a Ledyard guy. He lives in Stonington now. Great guy, great story. He was a corporate guy, worked for Pfizer for years, and he's a real outdoorsy guy, and I guess he just decided the corporate world wasn't for him, so he decided to
That's pretty
come out.
amazing.
And he volunteered at one of our mud runs a few years ago, and we just hit it off, and when we were getting ready to open the park, I just called him. I said, hey, listen, this is something we're thinking of doing. Would you be interested in helping out? And he said, absolutely. He said, this is right, exactly. It's in his wheelhouse. He's outdoors, super active.
Smart guy too.
Super smart.
He looks like he could
Listen,
carry a tree by himself.
Big, strong. Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
way smarter than I am, which is great.
Well, you always have to put the smarter people in to make you look good. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's interesting that you talk about the corporate world a little bit. I mean, same thing. I'm running into more people that have left, or the corporate world left them. But starting their own businesses. And I mean, Chuck and I heard our story a million times. We were corporate people for the longest time in the jewelry industry, and just said, okay, numbers. When is it going to be numbers, and us? You don't even put us at the end of it. So we left the corporate world. But speaking of 2008, that's interesting that we changed our business too. We had a huge store, and then 2008 came, and then sized down, and was able to keep our employees, and now really thriving on Route 1. But the point is that you're always constantly trying to get ahead of it, and making sure that your product is sort of the vision, and it matches, kind of like what George King said last week. We've got to keep forefront, of this in order to survive.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So it's really great, Tom, because I even was talking to Kristin before the show, and I said, well, what's Tom doing now? I mean, there's not paintball, but I see,
Well,
all
it's
this
brave to
activity.
make that kind of decision, too.
It is.
Definitely.
Well,
So how do you take care of the paintball people? Just kind of say.
That is the biggest disappointment to me is we had a very large and very loyal group of kids that loved to come and play paintball. And their parents had bought them equipment, so they spent money on them. So these kids had these paintball guns. So when we made the decision to shut it down, we had to kind of tell everybody, hey, listen, we're gonna stop. So that was the hardest thing, is because now you're disappointing people. But we also said, hey, while what we did was we're steering now everybody who wanted to play with us. There's another park that's just up in Voluntown. So we're sending the paintball players that want to play with us up to them. Really cool guys. It's a part of a campground. So it's not that far of a drive if they do want to play paintball. But what we're doing is we're replacing the portion of the property that had paintball. We're replacing it with a big obstacle course. So we're putting in an obstacle course.
That's great.
Kind of what you would see at a military boot camp, kind of like one of those. So it's going to be an obstacle course. We're doing it in two levels. There's going to be an adult obstacle course, and then there's going to be a kids one right next to it. So as you're going through the course, there'll be an obstacle. Maybe it's a climbing wall. You got to climb over the wall. It's adult size, and then there's going to be kid size.
Are we going,
and then
right?
You're going to go a little bit further.
When is this, Kristin?
We're going to film it.
Maybe we should have Mystic Matters on the ground.
I'll be on
Right. And this is going to be separate.
version.
You're not going to need to get harnessed. You're not going to need any of that. This is just an
really?
old school obstacle course, made of telephone poles and climbing and monkey bars and that type of thing. And then people can come and they can. There's so many people that do CrossFit and workout around here.
Yes, there's a lot of
cycling
CrossFit,
groups, the CrossFit people. There's so many personal trainers, and a lot of the people will get the clients for these guys. A lot of their friends will say, "Hey, I signed us up for a Spartan race in 3 months." So here's all us 40, 50-year-olds that are, getting older, and somebody says, hey, we got to stay in shape. I signed you up for a Spartan race. So they go to their gym, and they're like, all right, I got to get ready for this thing. But there's nowhere to actually do the obstacles except for when you do
the real training.
Right. You can do weights and you can jog, but you can't climb a rope or you can't climb a cargo net. So that's what we're putting in. We're going to put in the ability to do the actual obstacles that you're going to see at a Spartan race, a Tough Mudder. Without the crazy, you're not going to need to be harnessed. You're going to just be able to come in. We're going to basically charge a day pass. It's not going to be very expensive, but what we're going to do is reach out to the personal trainers and say, hey, include this in your membership where your people can come here. And it's just going to give us more things to do. at our park. It's going to be good for team building. Friends want to get together and have a friends and family night stuff type of thing.
So can the adults go on the kids course? Because I'm really...
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be...
Can the adults go on the kids course?
Can I bring a martini?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
But the other thing, speaking with you too, Tom, as you're so passionate about your park here, what I like about it is getting people outdoors again. And I mean, it's unfortunate that, it's fortunate and unfortunate that, these are type of things, we always used to play in the woods and do some crazy things when you were younger. But you're in the day and age of technology, and the day and age where families are trying to find it very difficult to spend time with each other. They can kind of put their phones down, lock things up, and say, hey, listen, we're at an adventure park where we not only can get healthy, spend time together, and really enjoy each other's company. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Yeah, it really is.
So Tom, describe what would be like a day in the summer when you are in the zone, like when you feel like, oh, this is all coming together and I'm exactly where I need to be. What are you doing in that moment?
Wake up about 6 in the morning, look at the reservations for the day. So I go online. The system we have is awesome. It gives you a manifest, says, all right, your climbers start arriving at 10 o'clock. So we get to the park around 8 and we start opening up. And then once we're open, everybody who comes to climb gets there early because they want to, if they have a 10 o'clock, they'll get there at 9:15 just because, whether the kids can't wait and they've already gotten their breakfast out of the way. So we have these Gaga pits that we put in. You know what Gaga
is? What is that? Lady Gaga?
No.
The only thing Gaga we know is Gaga, Lady Gaga.
Gaga Dodgeball is the new thing for elementary school kids. It's a very small octagon that's only about 3 feet tall, and you play dodgeball in it, but it's not the dodgeball that we grew up with where you're throwing it as hard as you can at people. It's all underhand. So you put 30 kids inside this little octagon, and they're swatting a ball underhand, and they're trying to hit each other with it.
Oh, so it's not hurting you.
Not hurt. Doesn't hurt at all. And it's really a fun game. We do adult Gaga Dodgeball on our Friday nights, and it gets kind of crazy.
Your Friday nights? You mean like you're open Friday nights?
We're open. We have a thing that became real popular last year. It's Friday Night Lights. It starts at 7 o'clock, and we tell people come and climb, and then bring a cooler or a bottle of wine for afterwards because we have the fire pits going till late, and then everybody just hangs out late at night around our fire pits, drinking glasses, a couple glasses of wine, a couple beers. They play Gaga Dodgeball. They're walking through the trails.
Nice.
So they're not drinking before they climb. They're drinking after they climb.
Right.
But it's such a nice environment to be out in the woods. It's kind of like camping.
But not camping.
But not camping. But you can go home afterwards.
And so typically your revenue stream comes from the daily activities and doing these sort of, I don't want to call them parties, but get-togethers.
Yep, it's our regular walk-on admissions. We have group rates. Once you have 10 people, you get a very good discount. Our regular rates are, they're not that expensive for what you're getting. So that's how we make our money. Our money is the regular people who buy their reservations. We're right now with this new system, we're about 80% reservations and 20% cash or credit card walk-up, which is kind of nice.
80% reservations?
Because it's online,
80%.
right?
Oh, yeah, because everything's online. They
get to pick their start time, which is nice.
Okay.
So if you're on vacation and it's the day before and you're figuring, all right, it's the night before, and you're like, all right, we're going tomorrow. We'll get to Mystic around 10. Okay, we can start our climb at 11, 11:30. So we start every half hour. You can pick your start time.
Okay. And you're not hard to find. You're right off. Just tell the audience right now where you're located.
Right off of exit 89. As soon as you get off exit 89, you head south, and the first right you can make is Sandy Hollow Road. So you make a right on Sandy Hollow. You go about a half mile. You make a left on Owank Ledyard, and you'll see us right there.
Okay. So Tom, we've got a few minutes to wrap up. What is the future for Fields of Fire Adventure Park? Because I'm already getting tired just listening to
You can
Tom.
fly a helicopter.
The future.
What is it? I mean, this is 50 acres of just beautiful, pristine courses, and just what's the future?
The future is we're going to take we have 5 courses right now that we climb. There's 2 beginner courses, there's 2 intermediates, and then there's an expert. And our expert course, the guys that do these courses has said that our black course is the toughest in the East Coast.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's great to know.
Yeah,
because
it
it's
is.
really hard, and for the guys that really want that
Yeah.
extra challenge, ours is the hardest.
Yeah.
So that's something we have. So we can add, if the park grows and business is there, and now we have people waiting because it's so busy that
Yeah,
they can't get up,
yeah.
we have the ability to add countless number of additional courses, because like I told you earlier, we have awesome trees further into the woods.
Right.
So we could
that's-
expand this up to 25 courses easily. So we
My
could
goodness.
make it 5 times the size of it is. It would cost a lot of money to do so. However,
Right.
if the market's there, why not to do it? Because you're not disrupting anything. It doesn't, if we decide to pull it all down, there's not one screw into any of our trees.
Right. They can all go
These
back.
things are
Yeah,
wrapped.
Yeah.
So we're not hurting any trees.
Yeah.
Right now it's mounted on the trees, but they're not screwed into the trees. So if we decide to shut it down, we just take everything down and the woods is the woods.
yeah.
So we can go
Right
25
in.
courses. We can add camping there, some small, we don't want to get into really camping, but we'd like to get in, maybe let some Boy Scout groups come in for an overnight.
Right.
Do that. We don't want to ruin the pristine part of the
Right.
woods.
That's
if you
what
let
I'm-
too many people walk through the woods, it's going to get trampled down, and we don't want to do that. We like the way it is. It's really nice. So we would allow some camping. We have a big event space that we just put in, so it's the size of a football
Oh, my
field. It's a
God.
huge flat field.
Well, we're going to wrap it up a little bit. I only said that because I said, Tom, what's next? And but we are so happy to have you in Mystic, Connecticut, and good luck with your future adventures. And there you have it right on the screen. I'm just getting tired of listening to Tom. He's so excited and passionate. But I do want to say one thing.
Are you gonna have your
Survivor?
wedding here? Like, you should have your wedding at.
Oh,
Dylan's
absolutely.
Fire.
We've had inquiries, and that's what the event space is going to be.
But Survivor, that television show Survivor, you come find us. Hollywood, you ain't seen nothing yet until you've seen this pristine place. So come on down. Tom, thank you so much. Kristin, thank you so much. We
Susette,
are the
Tom.
Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, Mystic Matters. Good evening.